Also in the receptor part, you provide the small stimulus, you provide the bigger stimulus. No matter the receptor have a big receptive field like this, or the receptor have a small receptive field, they all are able to detect the difference of the weak and strong stimulus. If you have a big receptive field, you provide a weak stimulus, well, they will activate a few of those synapses. If you have a bigger stimulus, you can activate all the synapses, so they are able to detect the difference. If the receptor have a small receptive field, and you activate the center one, only this one will be activated. If you provide a bigger stimulus, all of these two will be activated. So from the receptor part, they are able to code the small and the big stimulus. And very interesting characteristic of the sensory cells is they adapt. Like you go to a room, you smell something, after about 30 seconds to 1 minute, you don't smell it. And the reason is not the physical stimulus is not there. The olfactory stimulus is still there. And the reason is the receptor, they adapt. Adaptation means you provide the stimulus, and ideally you want them to generate all the action potential, but for all the sensory receptors, they won't keep doing this. Their response decrease. Even though you have the same stimulus, their action potential frequency start to decrease. They can decrease slower, or they can decrease much faster. So you have the tonic, you have the phasic receptors, especially the olfactory, that's this one. Their action potential decrease very, very quickly. And after about 1 minute, they generate almost no action potential. That's why you don't smell, because your brain don't receive the action potential from your receptor anymore. And why they adapt? The reason is your brain want to have new stimulus. If the stimulus does not change, usually it means it's not very important for your survival. So it turns out it will, if you have the same stimulus, like it won't change, their response decrease. So all your receptors, sensory receptor, adapt. And some of them adapt much faster than the other, like olfactory. So these are the two examples. You have the pain receptor, you have the smell receptor. Smell receptor, that's the one adapt very, very quickly. Their response quickly decrease after the stimulus is provided. So you don't smell anything after about 1 minute. The pain sensation, they still adapt, and their 5 frequency decrease, but they're still there. And the reason is the pain receptor, that your brain needs a signal from the pain to tell you something is wrong in your body. You need to take care of this, because this will affect your chance to survive in this world, and this won't. So you have the tonic receptor that adapts slower. You have the phasic receptor adapt much, much quicker. But no matter which one, your receptor adapt. So these are the examples. Another slide tells you the tonic and the phasic. So you have the slow adaptations receptor, like the pain receptor. These are the tonic receptor. You provide the same stimulus, and their response decrease. Or you have the phasic receptor. They adapt very quickly. Their response quickly decrease to 0. And they only respond to the change part. So that's another slide tell you the same information. Your sensory response adapt when you provide stimulus, the same stimulus there. And your signal will go to your brain. They always go to the same part. So from the stimulus, they will go to the brainstem, from the brainstem to the thalamus, and they will go to the same cortical area, like your gustatory cortical area is in your insula. So they always go to the same pathway, go to the same response area. And this connection, so neuronal network from the outside will go to your spinal cord first. That's your first order neuron. And then you have the second one, from your spinal cord go to your thalamus. And the third one from your thalamus to your cortex. So you have three neurons. So you have three neurons, first order neuron from the peripheral to the center, and the second one from the center to your thalamus, and the third one from the thalamus to your cortex. Your body sensation will go to this area. We call the somatosensory cortex. We'll talk about this in the central nervous system. You have a whole body map represent the stimuli from different body parts. So this pathway we call the afferent pathway. It will go from the peripheral to the cortex. But we do have some, they don't terminate in the cerebral cortex. Like your body sensation, most of them will go to the somatosensory cortex. Some of them will go to the brainstem. And they have different functions. Some of them is help you to maintain the balance of your body or provide the feedback. You can control your muscle tone, so you are able to hold the object. So you will go to the brainstem area and help to coordinate your body muscle. And you are able to your body responds before you are aware of it. Your sensory receptor have the receptive field, and its receptive field definition is the area that receptor pick up. We call the receptive field. So you touch this area and this receptor will be activated, and that's the receptive field of this receptor. You can have small receptive field, you can have a large receptive field. The small receptive field is sensitive, it's more sensitive. The resolution is high, so you can use the digital camera, the pixels to resolution to think about. If the digital camera have high pixel number, 10 megapixel, 12 megapixel, and what happens is each pixel is pretty small. Each pixel is small, so their receptive field is small and it's high resolution. So this happens in the sensitive body part, like your finger, your lips. And the large receptive field is like those low megapixel digital camera. Each pixel is big. It turns out the resolution is low. It happens in the body part less sensitive, like your back, your body. That's the large receptive field. And we call it acuity discrimination. So it turns out the small receptive field is more sensitive, its resolution is high, but it takes a lot of neurons. So your body could not make your brain could not make your whole body this sensitive. So you have to pick a certain area to make them sensitive, like your finger, like your lips. These are the small receptive field. The other body part, they put a big receptive field, a large receptive field. And each pixel is big, so they don't have too many pixels. And the resolution is low. So ability to discriminate decrease. Your body have small and also big receptive field. Okay, let's take a break.